really sparked by all of the protests and the civil uprise that was happening today and in 2020. I mean, it's happened so many times.
Hello, hello, all those beautiful faces. How we doing? How we doing? Stephanie checking in with another episode of Class Disruption. And today I'm bringing to you a conversation that I had with Denisha Merriweather. But before we get into it, I'm gonna need for you to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, tap that bell so you can get notified every time I drop a video, and let me know in those comments down below. What are you thinking about our conversation? And of course, share this video. That is the most important thing that you could do. Share this video so we can spread this disruption all around the world. But like I said, today we're having a conversation with Denisha Merriweather, the creator of the hashtag Black Minds Matter and the host of a forum to have conversations about different aspects of the education system and Black people in America. In fact, they have a forum coming up this Wednesday. So first of all, I'm gonna need for you to go follow Denisha on Twitter, go follow Black Minds Matter on Instagram, and then I need you to sign up for the event this Wednesday. I'm gonna be there, and I wanna see your beautiful face there to discuss the history of education in America and how it has or has not served Black people. So all that information is in the description down below. Go check it out, and let's get into this conversation. Hey, Denisha, how we doing?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. And like I love the way that we met through Twitter, and just like you commented on one of my posts and I was like, oh, who is this? And then I got right in on the action on what you're doing and why I asked you to come on here and talk about it. But before we get into it, just let me know, like, who are you? What do you do? What are you all about? And of course, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, awesome. I know I definitely underestimate sometimes the great connections you can make with people over social media. And so it was definitely awesome to get to meet you and for you to literally jump in and take action. I really admire that. So, yeah, my name is Denisha Merriweather. I do a lot of work in the education field. I got my master's in social work though, but it all started because I got a scholarship to go to a private school when I was growing up. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and education really changed my life. I was going to some really crappy, I'm just gonna say that, some really crappy schools. In my family life, I was dealing with a lot, and so it was just double whammy. Like I felt when I went home, I was just confronted with a lot. When I went to school, teachers would just sigh and just not be pleased to see me. And education became something I hated. I hated going to school. I hated learning. I hated reading. I hated everything. It was bad.
Oh
And
yeah, and I could see that in some of my kids too, and I hate that. I hate that we do
yeah,
that to them.
but it makes a difference when a kid is in an environment where it really is tailored to their needs, their interests, their abilities. And that's what I found in the sixth grade when I started to go to a little private school on a scholarship. And I know the story is different from somebody, everybody's story is different, but it's like, oh, I remember that teacher, everyone has
Mm-hmm.
that story. And I bridge, just me personally, social work and education, because I believe that kids should not go to a class and experience trauma. Like kids should not experience trauma at school. That goes from school shooting, that goes to academically teacher, that goes to learning from even peer-to-peer bullying. Like
Mm.
students should not experience trauma when it's such a big chunk of their life. Like we carry the stories of K-12 with us all through our whole life, and we pass them down to our kids. And so that's a little bit about me.
Nice. And so I met you, like I said, on that Twitter thread, and it's awesome, like hearing your story again, to know about you, because I, like you said, I just like jumped in. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? Like this seems dope.
Yeah.
And I hopped right into an amazing conversation. You were talking to Dr. Howard Fuller, and it's on a platform you created,
Black Minds Matter.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know, like, what's the mission of Black Minds Matter? Like, how did it come to be? Like, how is that part of your journey with getting the scholarship and school choice?
Yeah, well, it was really sparked by all of the protests and the civil uprise that was happening today in 2020. I mean, it's happened so many times, but the most recent one in 2020, after George Floyd and Breonna Taylor died at the hand of police officers. And I work in education, and I saw so many parallels within the criminal justice field, within healthcare, within all these other systems where we try to make systemic change for Black and Brown people in this country, and how it's seemingly moving so slow. And so I wrote an article called Black Minds Matter, and started Instagram and started a Twitter page, so you guys can go follow that at Black Minds Matter _official. And talking about how police brutality and education inequality in America is all founded on the foundation of racism, and how we really need to confront that in order to confront all of the systemic change. And so Howard Fuller, the event you attended, he really went into depth into talking about how all of these different systems do have to change. And it's his belief, and I am growing to more so every time I learn about a little bit something new. He believes that education is the one area that really needs to be addressed in order for all of the other systems to have change.
Right.
And when a person gets educated effectively, they're in turn able to grow up and continue to make change, and that ripple effect continue to go. And I'm kind of liking that now more and more, but the social worker in me and the like, I want to change everything now. Like, I'm like, we can do it all at the same time. If we have dynamic people on this side, this side, we can do it. But to his point, you do have to have knowledge in order to change those systems, to have quality people in all of those different areas. So that's why I'm growing more.
All right, I love it. And so what I was just wondering about a couple things in there, because I'm totally with you on we need pretty massive change. Like, I definitely, that's why I became a teacher, is because I believe in the efficacy of education to really be that base, that foundation for then like whatever you go on to do afterwards, and be able to bring, I guess it's like trickle up, because you're like moving up in your life, but it's like trickle, not trickle up. No, we don't want the trickle down. Should that trickle up economics into the world. My one thing though is I was wondering how you said racism is in the foundations of the country, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we have to and it's like, I agree. I just think that we need to make sure that we have nuance on that point too, right? Because while I believe that we need massive structural change, I also believe that those the liberal values are sound values. And it's just that we need to root out some of that hypocrisy that was like baked in with them at the founding.
I mean, as it relates to education, you would think that liberals would be on board with giving kids an opportunity to receive equality.
Oh yeah, when I say liberal, I mean it in like the Enlightenment sense, not in like liberal or conservative sense. I mean like those liberal like values of liberalism, of like every man is born with life, liberty, property, those inalienable rights, kind of how we have the separations of power, like the court systems. Like I believe that as a foundation is sound. It's those structures that we built on top of those that we need to change.
I mean, yeah, but you can't not confront that our founding fathers had slaves and were instrumental in bringing a lot of African peoples to a country, first as indentured servants, and then changed it into slavery and then generational slavery. So I think a lot of African Americans, including myself, have this dual kind of citizenship where it's like, oh, we're of America, but we're not really of America, because so many times in the beginning, in the founding, we weren't a part of that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Even until the Constitution, we were considered 3/5 of a person. And so all of those things have to be acknowledged and changed and ratified in order for us to continue to move forward in this country to make changes. So yeah, it sounds good that we were all have life, liberty, but that picture back when our forefathers started that was not people that looked like me. And so it sounds good, and I wish that it was, because 4th of July would be celebrated with a little bit, I would feel a little bit more peace at heart to know that, okay, 4th of July is also a celebration for me too, for my people too. But that's not the reality of the situation.
I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying. And I think that as a historian, right, I teach social studies. And I think that, so when you read like a lot of like the philosophy of history books out there, like one of the number one rules they always say is when you're studying history, you can't judge men of the past by morals and values of the present, right? So I think that it's unfair to judge them by our morals and values of right now. And like, we can look back and say, yo, that was messed up. Like, you know, like it literally blows my mind that people could think like that. You know what I mean? But I just want to appreciate the progress that they're making, you know, because like slavery was the status quo back then, but those liberal values that they established wasn't. And it was those values, I think, that have allowed us to has it been as fast as we want to? No, but history moves slow. To become more progressive and to become more liberal and realize those values. So I just want to make sure that we're bringing nuance to like that aspect of the story as a historian. Like, yeah, what they did was messed up, and like we can clearly see that back then or now, but I don't think that they could see that then as clearly as we think.
I mean, I can't speak for the past because I don't know George Washington. I don't know Christopher Columbus. I don't know these people because it's been so long ago. Neither do the modern day folks, like the train of thought you have of, oh, we have to just give them a little, inch. I don't think so, because there were Quakers who were saying, no, this is not right. There were people who were saying, no, this is not right at the time. I don't believe that every person who had fair skin had a slave. And I do believe that there were people speaking out, and there absolutely were people who were speaking out saying no. I mean, even after England and other countries who had slaves were outlawing it and saying, okay, this is illegal practice, we still maintained it and actually ingrained it into different systems here in the United States. And that's why we still battle with all of the wounds and the deep-seated resentments that we have, because we never fully addressed it. I mean,
and I agree with that 100%. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree with all of that 100%. I think that both can be true. You know what I mean?
Now, what I'm not saying when I say that we need to address racism, which is true, but what I'm not saying is that every person with fair skin is a racist. I do think we do need to add nuances to that term, because we just have really weaponized the term racism in order for us to not have very meaningful conversations. If a Black person calls a white person a racist, then the conversation is seemingly just called to a halt. You can't say anything, but that's not right. There should be meaningful conversations, and there's such thing as prejudice. There is such thing as a racist. There's such thing as you're just dumb. Like, I mean, we don't give a lot of, we just say racist. As soon as someone of a different shade says something that we don't agree with, we just automatically deem it something that it may not be. I've had wonderful conversations with friends, and I can call sisters, who don't have my same complexion, but we have very deep, meaningful conversations. And I would never call them a racist. Like, I would never say that. We have come to a point where we have just not been able to have conversations with people without spitting off the mouth that somebody's racist. And if the person is racist, God is so good. Guess what? He's able to redeem them too. I mean, we can grow. Like, people.
I'm glad you say that. I'm glad you say that. I've seen this clip. Do you know Citizen Stewart?
Yes.
So I like him a lot. I like a lot of the things he said, but I seen an interview that he did, So he said the question that was asked of him was, would you rather have a racist who could teach your kid to read or write, or like one of these more like social justice types that isn't necessarily the most effective teacher, but you know they're not racist? And he was like, oh, I'll take the racist that can teach my kid to read and write. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? Like the person's an effective teacher. The racism doesn't interfere with their school necessarily. They just might think. But he said the opposite of what you say. He didn't think that they were redeemable. And that's where I disagree. Is like, I think people, once they have conversations, interactions like this, it's just about seeing the human in people and having that exposure.
Yes. Yeah, we are magnificent beings. I mean, we are, every other creature on this planet has no comparison to how powerful the human is. We have the power to produce and to make things and to destroy. I mean, it's just the reality of it. And so we can grow. I mean, we can grow, we can evolve mentally. And I don't believe in the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't believe in that. I think you can always continue to grow and better yourself no matter how old you are. Of course, younger you are, it makes it easier. But no, I don't believe once you were XYZ, always an XYZ. No, I don't think that's the case.
Nice. So let's bring it back to Black Minds Matter. I know we got off on a little road over there, but I think that's also kind of like some of what Black Minds Matter is about. Having, like you said, having these conversations, being able to talk. So like where do you see it going? Like, what do you want to do with this? I know you're having this conversation series. Like, what can I expect from Black Minds Matter?
Yeah, so right now we're pumping full steam ahead with a video series. So we've recorded 3 different video series. You said on one, and we have another one releasing next week. We have one this week. The next one is going to talk about the history of schooling in America for Blacks. So that would be a good one for
yeah, I
your
would
audience to tune into, because that's going to be talking about all the way even from Africa schooling, what it looked like, into our modern term of schooling, what we have now. And then we also have coming up in the series, designing the ultimate school system, what schools in Wakanda would look like. And yeah, so I love Black Panther, and so playing off of that theme. But that's what we're punching full steam ahead, getting some experts and some grassroots folks.
All right, my son would like to be on that panel.
Yes.
He got Black Panther mask. He hop out all the time on me. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And I also hope to get some merchandise up, so masks and t-shirts, just for people to take this and run with it. I don't want Black Minds Matter to be something that's controlled by any one person. We all have to be involved in moving the needle forward. And so I invite anybody to use the phrase, write articles, hashtag, make your own t-shirts, do your own thing with it, because it's going to be great.
All right, definitely. I'm gonna get myself one of those, and we'll have a little bit of fun over here for sure. And so I do know that part of your belief system or your approach to education, like you said, you got the scholarship, has to do with school choice. And so, Black minds should have the choice of where they want to go to school. And so again, going back to that conversation, I'm going to get a little political, was Dr. Fuller said that, he can't support Trump, even though, Trump, he, especially in the last few weeks, has been more and more vocal about his support for school choice, and by directing funds directly to families if their schools aren't going to open. And then on the other hand, you have Biden, who's a pretty traditional Democrat. And as you have mentioned before, like the liberals, the Democrats aren't as pro-choice as it seems like they should be. So we're in this conundrum here, right? And Dr. Fuller said, he can't support Trump. So even though Biden's not school choice, he believes that the other issues are more important. If you're not for life, if you're not for healthcare, if you're not for all these things, then it doesn't matter about education, right? And I agree with him, except that I don't think that Biden brings those things either, right? Like, and for example, the DNC just overwhelmingly voted for Medicare for all not to be on the official party platform. And I go, and like Trump seems to fall on the left on a few other issues as well. So it's this interesting thing. I'm not sure who I'm going to vote for yet. I'm going for this thing like Unity 2020, which would be a candidate from center left, center right. I mean, I'm hoping and praying. We'll see how it works out. But what's your approach to school choice? Like, how are you looking to this political landscape and this election?
Well, first of all, I'm an independent, and I think like you, like I am so tired. I feel like our generation, like we're just like grow up. Like we just graduated from high school, like, this looks a lot like where we left from, you know, that the high school is going to continue. But anyway, just saying, we're a little bit closer than ever, all of them, to high school. And I look at, and I think, oh my gosh, it's so partisan, it's so divided, and, you know, what are we doing? To your point with Trump and Biden, I worked for the Trump administration for 2 years. I worked under Secretary DeVos in communications office on the school choice issue. And I loved it. It was a great learning opportunity for me. And so for that, that's a different conversation than the one you're having. But so you know where I'm coming from in the background, where the conversation that we had with Dr. Howard Fuller, because he knows my work history as well. And so I would definitely say that I get Howard's point, like I get Dr. Fuller's point, because if you have, as an individual, if you believe that you cannot bring yourself to vote for someone, don't do it. Like that's literally our right as a human. Don't do it. And to his point, like he does not like Trump. He's said that many times out in public, and I honestly I respect that, and I can't say anything about that. Now for Biden doesn't support school choice. He said it so many times. He even is trying to wipe not just private school choice programs, which many people don't like those, but even charter schools. And Elizabeth Warren doesn't like them either. There's a famous video around when she was like, someone questioned her and said, why don't you support school choice, when you sent your own kids to private school? And she's like, I didn't send my kids to private school. And then we're like, wait, what?
Yep. I saw that.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of Democrats do not support school choice. And it's literally because they receive the teachers union's money. That's the only reason why.
Boom.
School choice is literally a welfare program. I'm just gonna put it out like that. Conservatives, Republicans this should not be their number one ticket item. And just because you're a Republican, school choice should not just be your number one ticket item, because it is a welfare program, and Democrats have traditionally supported all welfare programs, even if it was ludicrous. Like more money. Like even if it doesn't make any sense, it's like, oh, it's a welfare program. Okay, so why not education? The teachers union, they're in the beds with the teachers union. So I am it's literally like pulling my brain cells apart come next election, because you have someone on one hand who supports an issue that could seemingly impact more people who grew up like you, not just color wise, but income level wise too. More low income, more people with special needs who would benefit from school choice program. Then you have another person who does not, and this is what we talked about in that event, who does not support school choice, but supports every other aspect of your identity. And so it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And I agree with Dr. Fuller that it's definitely a challenge that every single last person should continue to talk about. But you can't make that decision based on just school choice. And that's something that I came to comfort with. You can't just vote for someone who does not support everything about you just because they support school choice. You know, you can't be that type of one issue voter.
Right, one issue voter. No, I agree for sure. All right, so what do you want to leave the people with? You know, word of advice, motivation. You want to do like some shameless self-promotion?
Well, I think what you're doing is really great. I mean, I really admire you as a teacher, as an educator, and you are not just involved in the teaching aspect, but everything that involves teaching and the policy conversations. That's all that teaching is. And I think we need more teachers and more educators who are influencing students to understand teaching holistically and not just what happens in the classroom with the kids in front of them. And that could be overwhelming and consuming because there's a lot. You have trauma and all this stuff. But again, I do think that what you're doing is awesome with Classroom Disrupted, and continue to do that. And I just want to leave everyone with, you know, continue to learn more. Don't just take information at face value. It is very easy to do because you can like scroll and then 30 seconds and next, but read more articles on different topics. Literally subscribe to Google Alerts. They'll send you every morning at whatever time you want. And that's about it. And yeah, Black Minds Matter. Follow us on Instagram and get involved.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, you know, you have my heart definitely. And there's a few of us teachers out here trying to do these things. So I'm gonna make sure I connect you with them. And I'm definitely gonna be, you know, shouting out the top of my lungs about your next couple events when I get my swag, you know.
Yes.
So we're gonna make it happen, all right? All right.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Just great conversation, learning about Black Minds Matter, which if you haven't already, I need for you to go follow them on Instagram, go follow Denisha on Twitter, and sign up for that forum, Black Minds Matter. We're having a conversation this Wednesday, and I want to see you there. But what I was saying is, you're going to get more dope conversations like this. Just people from different perspectives, different backgrounds coming together, and we have different ways of interpreting all the little pieces in there, but we have that same goal, and it's about coming together to reach that goal. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and let's keep talking about it. Let me know what you're thinking in those comments down below. Of course, if you haven't, I need you to like this video. I need you to hit that subscribe button and that bell so you get notified every time I drop a video, and share this video. That is the most important thing that you could do. Share this video to another educator, to a student, to a parent, so we can spread this disruption all around the world. And until next time, y'all know what I need you to do. Stay foolish.